following program comes from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Every athlete is on this quest. Every performer dives in head first, battling real-life challenges and overcoming obstacles in an effort to make their dreams reality. Singer, songwriter, 15-year WWE host Lilian Garcia was the first woman to ever announce WrestleMania. And the first to launch her own podcast, which gives you an all-access pass to the human interest stories of elite athletes and extraordinary entertainers. Now, let's embark on another fascinating journey of chasing glory with your host, Lilian Garcia.
Well, here it is. We are into 2019. We are a week in, and welcome to the first episode of Chasing Glory for 2019. So excited for this. And I have to tell you right off the bat, I have to laugh at this. And that is, I actually already recorded this episode. I was so excited. I recorded all of it. And then I went back to listen to it. And all of a sudden I realized, oh my God, I don't know what happened, but the wrong microphone was on. What? And I was like, wait, this is the way the first show is starting? Are you kidding me right now? Oh, and then I gathered myself and I said, okay, here is a lesson in itself. The lesson is 10% is what happens to us and 90% is how we react to it, right? 10% is what happens to us. 90% is how we react to it. So I decided I'm just going to have to re-record this. So here it is. Second time around, take two. It's okay because it is a new year and it really does show that sometimes things don't go exactly the way you want them to go the first time around, but you got to just keep at it. And I'm going to be answering questions in the show. You guys are my guests today. I really was trying to think of how do we start 2019 with Chasing Glory? And I wanted to make it all about you, which is why I'm going to be answering your questions that you actually wrote in. I thank you so much. So many amazing questions that you have. And so I'm going to be getting to all of that. I'm going to let you know what's going on with Chasing Glory this year. And I'm also going to be breaking down last year's episodes. We did the best of. I hope you guys caught that last week. Incredible, right? My guests really opened up, and I have to thank my guests. They are incredible, and you guys are incredible too for spreading the word about everything and for letting me know how you like the show. So that is on Chasing Glory. It's Chasing Glory Podcast on Instagram. And at Lilian Garcia on Instagram and Twitter, and Lilian Garcia official fan page on Facebook, and also YouTube. YouTube is youtube.com/Lilian Garcia. Boy, there's a lot of tags, a lot of social medias. But you know what? We're trying to get Chasing Glory out there wherever we can. Don't forget that we have the app. The app is available. That is the easiest way that you can actually get Chasing Glory. Or you can go, of course, to Apple Podcast, and I'll be reading some of your reviews. But above all, I just want to say Happy New Year to all of you. I want to announce this is huge. I'm so excited. And it is because of you guys. You're the one doing this. Chasing Glory just surpassed 5 million downloads. 5 million downloads. Whoa, that's a lot of people listening to Chasing Glory. And I can't be more ecstatic about it because it means that you really are loving the stories that you're hearing from these superstars and you're resonating with it. And I know you are too. Again, you're writing me in. The reviews that you guys write on Apple Podcast are so vital. They really do help the show. I love the 5-star rating. Thank you. Keep it up, keep it up, keep it up, because it does keep increasing the show and the status. And it means that more and more people get to hear about it because now there's so many podcasts, right? There's so many shows. There's so much stuff on TV. There's so much stuff on Netflix and Apple, or what is it called? Amazon Prime, all of these things, right? So it's trying to cut through all the noise. And my goal is to continue to bring you the most impactful interviews that will actually change your life, help you in some way, form, or another. Because above all, I think you guys have realized, if you've been following me, now if this is your first time listening to Chasing Glory, welcome. And you have a lot of catching up to do. Please go back and listen to the past episodes because there are so many incredible lessons in each one, and just these growth things that you will actually get so empowered from, and you will grow because, like I said, above all, you're not alone. If you think you're experiencing some things, whether it's eating disorders, whether it's even contemplating suicide, whether it's being molested, whether, all of these things that affect us in life, losing a loved one, being bullied, I want you to know you're not alone. And so when you hear the stories from the superstars, you realize, wait, they went through this and they still made it. They still were able to create something in their lives. And it's also uplifting things that we talk about too, right? It's not just all doom and gloom. It's not just all the trials and tribulations, but that's a big part of getting through it. But it's also about, okay, I have a goal and how the heck do I get there? And so you hear stories from like Seth Rollins and Sting and what they had to endure and what they gave up to actually get their careers. And when they were right at that verge of giving up, and why they didn't give up, how they didn't give up. And thank God that Sting did not give up. Imagine wrestling without Sting? No way. So if you go back and you listen to his episode, I hope that somebody out there that needs to hear it, that is trying so hard to get somewhere, listens to that and goes, you know what? I was about to give up, but I'm not going to. Because just like him, I know I can do this. I know I can do this. So we've got a lot to break down for you. I'm going to be starting with your questions, but above all, I want to dedicate this show to someone who recently passed, and that's Mean Gene Okerlund. Gene, what a gem. Talk about somebody that was such a light in the world. I always talk about that. Are you a light in the world? Be that light in the world. He was a light in this world. He really did give of himself. He gave to the business. But above all, seriously, like whenever I saw Gene, had the biggest smile, biggest hug for me. He really impressed me. Oh my God, I was a kid. I was a kid watching wrestling with my dad. And I would watch Andre the Giant. I would watch Hulk Hogan and Ric Flair. And I remember Gene interviewing them all. So you can imagine what that felt like for me, because when I got into this business, I didn't even know, A, that I was going to get in this business, but B, I had no idea that I was going to be interviewing. So when I started interviewing and I realized, oh my goodness, I'm actually doing the job that Mean Gene Okerlund used to do. And then when I got to meet him, blew my mind, completely blew my mind. So he really just made an impression on me. Thank you, Gene. I hope that you are resting in peace. I know you probably are, because again, you are just, you've left so much for us in this world. So we dedicate this show to you, and we just thank you for everything that you gave to all of us in this life. And I hope you guys can see, really, life is precious. And I know sometimes you hear this and you go, yeah, whatever. When they say make every day count, but literally make every day count. We don't know how long we're on here, but more importantly, treat people with a lot of love and a lot of respect. A lot of love and a lot of respect. By saying that, I also want to say that leads me to speaking about something that happened, and that was Toni Storm. So apparently some of her photos got leaked on the internet. There were nude photos of her, and it infuriated me. I can't believe that there's people, well, I should say I can't believe. I know. There's people out there just want to do harm. They want to embarrass people. You know what's going on? They're not happy with their lives. Because they're not happy with their lives, they have to try to destroy somebody else's life. If you're happy with your life, trust me, you're not going out there and trying to embarrass somebody or trying to, bring somebody down. You're not. So I say to these people that are doing things like this, cut it out. Number one, it's ridiculous. And instead of trying to, you know what? It never works. It never works. I'll tell you why. You're not going to feel better about yourself. You might laugh in the moment, but you will not feel better about yourself in the long run. Karma's a bitch, for sure. And number three, it always backfires because you might have wanted to embarrass her. Did you see the support Toni's been getting? Have you seen the support? I love it. A whole hashtag has been trending. We support Toni. We support Toni Storm, both hashtags. And I have to say, like, everyone's been seeing it, which I'm so glad. And this, we talk about it. And I like that. We can actually talk about this. Empower people. Treat people with a lot of respect and love. Be the light that actually pushes somebody up. If you're not feeling good about your life, trust me, the better way to start feeling good about your life is doing something for others. Help others. Donate to charities, go work in a charity or volunteer, something, but you will feel much better about yourself. But stop trying to tear other people down because it always backfires in multiple ways. So Toni, we support you. And of course, I've had people already telling me that they would love to have her on Chasing Glory. And of course, I want her on Chasing Glory. I'd love to have her story on here. And I love that Paige actually, talked about this because she'd been in the same boat and she supported Toni. And that's something when Paige was on Chasing Glory and how open she was and talked about it, it resonated with so many people out there. So let Toni know that you want her on here. And we'll work on that. But Toni, we love you. And she's just incredible. I was there when she won the Mae Young Classic and she's just an incredible human being. So Toni, we love you. All right. So what to expect on Chasing Glory this year? Oh man. Okay. More incredible stories from WWE superstars, also from other superstars from either other organizations of wrestling or other athletes from different athletic backgrounds. Also more entertainers, whether it's singers or actors. Just want to really get a lot of incredible different stories. And it might be from people that you don't know. For example, I also want to talk to wellness experts because Chasing Glory encompasses everything. It encompasses like working on your mindset, your heart set, your soul set. All of these things help you to chase your glory. So wellness experts out there can help with how do you properly change your mindset to feel you're worthy to have it. Becky Lynch actually talked about that in the, like I said, in the best of and in her episode last year. She talked about the first time that she had the title, she was like, I'm apologizing. I felt like I had to apologize. And I felt like I didn't really feel it like I deserved it. And she said, and it's on me because it resonated, which she said it's so different now the second time that she won it. And then she became the man. She's killing it. She is killing it. I'm so proud of her and so excited for her because there you go. That is a amazing light. She is an incredible human being. I've got to work with her and know her. And we were actually neighbors for a while. So I've really gotten to know Becky, and that girl's got a heart of gold. But I am so proud of her. But she talked about how she had to feel worthy before anyone else could actually feel it too, right? You have to feel that. And when I say that, it actually reminds me of a story, something that happened to me that I want to share with all of you. I don't know whether or not I have said this or not, but back when I was in school, I have shared with you guys that I was bullied. I came here from Spain. My dad was actually working for the U.S. Embassy in Spain, which is why we were stationed there for 8 years. Well, I came when I was 8 years old, so I was in third grade. And in Spain, you actually wore dresses. So that's what I did. I wore dresses to school. Well, when you speak Spanish, I didn't know how to speak English, but they also knew how to speak Spanish. And it just kind of wasn't the time where it was acceptable. In a way, it was so different to speak another language. Now you've got melting pot, man. Now it's like everyone almost speaks another language, which is just great. But at the time it was different. So you've got somebody that actually everyone is wearing jeans and I'm wearing dresses. Of course, I'm going to stand out. I also, somebody that came from Spain. I speak a different language. There's things that were different. I never had a problem making friends over there. Things here were very cliquey. everyone had their own little cliques and stuff. Well, that's not the way it was for me in Spain. So I didn't kind of understand the culture. I didn't fit in. And I wanted to belong so badly that I tried to force myself. I wanted to be popular so bad. So yeah, I made the mistake. I tried to force myself into the popular groups, which makes everything worse. Well, kind of got made fun of from that. And I could actually remember hearing girls snickering behind my back. I could hear them, and I could actually hear them when they would talk about me. And this is kind of like the way they would say my name. They'd be like, oh, Lilian thinks, and Lilian this, and Lilian that. Well, what happened with that, I started creating this not worthy, and I felt like, wow, I must be a horrible person, that people don't like me. And oh, it was awful. All the stuff that I started making up in my head. Well, when I got hired with the WWE, and I will remember it was JR and King and myself that would make our entrances to the ring, because they were both on commentary, and of course I was announcing. So this would actually happen right before Monday Night Raw. We would get our own entrances, and sure enough, Toni Chimmel, I think, was the voice of it. Yeah. You would hear the recording. Like when King came down, you would hear him saying, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Jerry the King Lawler or JR. When my music hit and he would announce, ladies and gentlemen, please welcome your Raw ring announcer, Lilian Garcia. When my name got announced, you have no idea how much I was cringing inside. I could feel the girls that were bullying me. I could feel them saying, Lilian Garcia. And from that, oh man, it's like everything inside of me, I had such a hard time not only hearing my name because I associated it with those girls, but I even had a hard time saying my name. When somebody would say, what's your name? Lilian Garcia. Like literally, it was crazy for the longest time until I started doing self-help, like the seminars and all these things that started making me realize that it was a big story that I made up in my head. And yes, it was something that happened, but it's not something that I have to live with for the rest of my life. And to understand that they were in a position of A, I told you I was forcing myself trying to get in. B, I was different. So when something's different, people just get scared. That's all it was. They were just not understanding how to handle somebody who came from a different country and who wore different things. And that's what happens a lot of times, I think, because once you start getting to know the person, you start realizing that you are more alike than you thought before. And human beings are beautiful to actually be different. And I remember saying this in an anti-bullying campaign or a rally that we had. I remember asking the kids in the crowd, I was like, who loves pizza? And everyone's like, oh, I love pizza. And I said, now, how would you like to have pizza morning, noon, and night, and snacks every single day, all day long? And they're all like, oh, I don't like pizza that much, right? And I said, well, then why do you want to know or be around the same type of people that think exactly like you, that look exactly like you every day, all day long, 24 hours? That would become boring. And so my point was that really variety is the spice of life. I love that we have different choices of different foods to eat, and I love that we have different types of people from different cultures, different languages, the way they look, different colors. It's amazing. It's like having different types of food. So just be a little bit more open to actually experiencing new things in your life. And now, thank God, I can hear and I can say my name without having that cringe that I had before. And I also am grateful for what I went through. I don't wish it upon anybody, but I've grown from it. It is who I am today. And I actually have a lot of empathy too for people that maybe are bullied or are going through it. I know what it feels like, so I can help out in that way. So we're going to also next week, by the way, I'm not going to tell you who it is, but it is the number one thing for the New Year's resolution is to actually lose weight. Everyone wants to feel better. Everyone wants to look better. Most of us. And so I thought, you know what? I want to have fitness experts on next week. So I'm going to have 2 guests. And again, I'm not going to tell you who they are yet. You will have to check out on Glory Friday at Chase and Glory Podcast on Instagram. We make the announcement as to who the next guest is for that following Monday. So you guys will have to check there. But I am going to have some fitness experts on here to help everybody on how to stay motivated, what to do to get in shape, how to, conquer those. Oh my gosh. I mean, how many of you have that urge to cheat? It's so hard. And I know, January is usually, especially at the gym, and it's full. And then all of a sudden starts dropping off in February and March and April. And then it kind of picks up a little bit in May. Everyone's trying to get ready for the summer, and June, and then July, and then it starts tapering off. And then all of a sudden the holidays start hitting and blah. And here we are all over again, right? So it's all about trying to figure out a way to sustain it throughout the whole year. So you can actually break the pattern and be at your best self. Because when you feel good, trust me, so many other things will fall into place in your life when you feel good. It all starts with what you eat, what you feed yourself. And I'm always one of those. It's moderation as well and balance. There are some cheat days that you can have, but it's really knowing when and how. And that's what we're going to talk about next Monday with the fitness experts. So we're going to do that. All right. And I want to thank my team also for Chasing Glory. I want to thank James in the UK. I want to thank Evan Polisher, George Hermosa, Waylon Myers, and Oliver Drennan. These guys are working really hard with Chasing Glory, and there's a lot of great things that are coming for Chasing Glory. Again, 5 million downloads. That's incredible. We're just growing. My CG squad out there, thank you guys. And I'm just really excited where everything is heading. So we asked you guys for questions. I'm going to do some questions now because, like I said, you are my show today. All of you deserve to be in the spotlight. I'm going to get to as many questions as I can. And every show, I'm actually going to start answering some questions that you have on every show. I'm also going to do a Where Are They Now every month. So we will go back and find somebody that has left the business, whether it's they've left WWE or they've left wrestling altogether, or they've left being an actor, or they've left being a musician. Like, where are they now? Why they chose to leave? I'll never forget when I was actually in radio and I left radio. People are like, why? There's so many people that actually try to be in radio. Well, I wasn't one of those. Radio kind of came my way, and almost like WWE, how it came my way. But there was reasons that I left radio. And one of them for sure was because I really wanted to pursue singing. And I moved from South Carolina, where I was doing radio, to New York. So it was a whole transition there. But we're going to definitely talk to people that have actually left the business and what they're doing now. Some people have made a complete different choice in careers. Like when I even left WWE and announcing, here I am. It's kind of like the same because it's still in the broadcasting world. And it almost feels like I'm back in radio because there is something that was a little awkward in radio. And here I am facing it again, but that's why I love when I have a guest with me. But when I was in the middle of the ring and I would be speaking, of course, it'd be an arena full of people. And even though I couldn't see the millions behind the cameras, there was still an arena full of people, so I could actually communicate with an arena full of people. But like right now feels like radio, because a lot of times when I was in radio, I was in this booth and I would be talking. And I'm like, is there anybody really listening out there? Because I can't see anybody. So it's a little awkward sometimes. You feel like you're speaking to yourself. But I know that there's people out there right now, you guys are either in the gym or you're in your cars or you're at home or you're wherever. And I know that you're actually hearing this and you've got your iPods on or you've got it cranking full blast on your speakers. And I appreciate that you're out there listening. And it's wild. It's a different feeling, but it's awesome too at the same time. It kind of challenges you in a different way. So, all right. So what do you say? Let me get to a quick review. Let's see. We've got your reviews. I love these reviews. Don't forget to go to Apple Podcasts. That's where I read these reviews. Every Saturday we post the 5-star Saturdays or 5-star reviews and on Saturdays. And so we post some of these up there. All right. So the first one is from Citrus Sunshine. It says, great reviews. We get a look at the real people behind the characters. We find out some about their life and the things that they are passionate about. I loved hearing about Drew McIntyre making a request to the FBI as a kid. I loved hearing about Samoa Joe's family business. I loved everything Dana Warrior and Titus O'Neil said. And I have so many more episodes to listen to. Keep up the good work. Thank you so much, Citrus Sunshine. I really appreciate that. And it is cool to hear all the different stories, right? I was blown away with Samoa Joe's story as well. And then Drew McIntyre and how he came back with a vengeance. With a vengeance, him and Jinder Mahal. They really showed what it's like to have a second chance, but actually creating your second chance and being ready for it. And then just going for it and being the best you. I loved hearing both those episodes because of that. All right, let's see. XRL Johns 24X says, Lilian does such an amazing job covering all sides of her guests. It's one thing to just talk the wrestling world and what the TV character we see is about, but it's even more crucial to allow the guests to discuss who they are as individuals and how they see the world around them. For instance, Mustafa Ali and Aleister Black both have such tremendous perspectives on the world today. While these two men are completely different people from immensely different backgrounds, this podcast allows the listener to uncover that we are actually far more alike than we often realize. It's a truly beautiful thing. Oh, I love that review. Thanks. And that's exactly what I was saying. Like, we can all have different things about us, which makes us so interesting. But it is, we do end up finding out that we are a lot alike that we didn't realize. And man, I remember when I was speaking to Aleister, and Aleister was talking about how, at 9 years old, he was exposed to government conspiracy theories and cults and all these things. I mean, it was just, it's a lot to try to handle that at 9 years old and how that's affected him. And he was so open about that. And then when he was talking about the conspiracy theories and all, I was like, hey, did you ever speak to Drew McIntyre, who talked about the fact that he was exposed to, or he, went over to the FBI, or he wrote into the FBI and wanted those kind of documents? And he goes, man, Drew and I have actually ridden together. We've known each other for years. I never knew that about him. And I was like, oh, you have to talk to him about it. He's like, absolutely. And then when I told Drew about it, he's like, I didn't know that. So it's so cool. That's what I mean. We find out things about each other, even our coworkers, that we didn't know. And it's just neat to know these things and to speak about them. All right, we have Shukstra. I like that, Shukstra. Great listening. Such a good show. Gave it a listen to all the episodes and was so impressed. Now I'm going back and listening to past episodes. Thanks so much. And thank you. This is from Picture Dave. Thank you for always having top-notch interviews. One of my favorite podcasts to listen to. Keep up the amazing interviews. Makes my day go by quickly. Thank you, Dave from New Bedford, Massachusetts. Thank you, Dave. I really can't thank you enough. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and go to the questions. Now, these came from social media, from Twitter, from Facebook, from Instagram. Thank you so much for sending them in. And I'm going to try to get to as many as possible. And then I want to break down some of the lessons from last year, from the people that we did hear. I think it is, I just don't want to glaze over 2018 and things that we actually learn from our guests, you got to know those lessons from the past so you know where you're going in the future, right? It helps us. It's a way to learn. It's a way for us to not make those mistakes again or learn from somebody else's mistakes so you don't make them yourself. So I actually want to break that episode down and my past guests. So let's see. The first question comes from T. Kelly 89. Lilian, at SummerSlam in 2002, you kicked Howard Finkel in the balls. How did the storyline come about? Oh, man. Well, let's see. Howard Finkel. Oh, man. Can I just say I love Howard Finkel? Let me just start with that. I love Howard Finkel. I actually got to speak to him not long ago, catching up, wishing him a happy new year. I broke down on the phone because I love that man so much. Here I was taking over his job when I came in, and he could have been somebody very bitter. He could have tried to sabotage me, all of these things. Because, he wasn't replaced like he left the business. No, he was just positioned in a different role. So he was still there. So when I came in, I was freaking out because I didn't know what the heck I was doing. I didn't find out till 3:30 that afternoon that I was actually going to be announcing Monday Night Raw starting that very night. Now, I can't thank the WWE enough for it, even though it was the scariest thing ever. But throwing me in there like that was the biggest learning lesson that I've ever endured. It was unreal. Now I look back and I go, how did I handle that? How did I get through that with no cue cards either? Found out 20 minutes before going live on the show that I couldn't use the cue cards. And I almost ran, people. There's been a couple times in my life that I've been truly scared, like when I got hit by a car and I was underneath the car screaming for it to stop. I know, that's another whole story. But, yeah, I was a pedestrian. So imagine that. I got hit. I'm underneath the car and the car's still rolling over me. What? Yeah, I was terrified. I remember every moment of that. I was terrified. But before that, I think the scariest thing, because I hadn't experienced the car yet, was this. I was at ringside 20 minutes before going live, and I was told, okay, you can't use cue cards. And I thought it was a bad joke. And I'm looking at Mark going, please don't joke with me right now. He goes, no, you don't understand. The executive producer doesn't want any cue cards. He does not want this to be boxing. So you've got to memorize everything. And that's how it was from day one. All the announcers memorize everything. So, man, it's a scary thing, especially when you got rules to do. This isn't just like where you can make up stuff. You can't. It's very set as to the way you have to say everything. So anyway, I almost ran. I'm so glad that I didn't. My life would have been so different had I run. So I figured I started really tapping into what had taught me before, things that I'd gone through, and that's what got me through that night. But Howard was such a light. He helped me so much in so many ways. Anytime I had a question, he was always like, absolutely, what do you need? And he would answer it. So Howard, I love you. I love you. A great, great human being. So anyway, there was a whole storyline with 3-minute warning, and Howard Finkel, and that I just realized that was with Jamal and Rosie, who both of them have passed away. Rest your souls, man. You're such good people. I love you both. And man, that's so crazy to think about that. But Eric Bischoff was actually their leader. Yeah, their leader. And I remember there was a whole storyline that they come into the ring, and Howard and I have been kind of feuding, like he wants his job back, and I'm trying to stand up for, no, I'm in this job now. And all of a sudden, when Rosie and Jamal go into the ring, Howard pushes me to Jamal, and then Jamal does a big Samoan drop. If you guys haven't seen it, it's pretty incredible. We did rehearse it in the afternoon, but the thing is that we rehearsed it with the mat underneath, okay, like a real cushy mat. When it actually happened, of course, I just get slammed into the regular ring. Well, I thought that the regular ring always had some kind of padding. I didn't know until I hit. And let me just tell you, I got the wind knocked out of me. And because I don't know how to take a bump, I got the wind knocked out of me. And I was so sore the next day that I was like, how do these wrestlers do this day in and day out? So much respect. So much respect. But anyway, so when I got knocked in there, I do remember that started a whole feud and a storyline. And so I'm out for a few weeks. And then it was SummerSlam, and Trish and I actually ran into the ring. And yep, I kicked Howard in the you-know-what as kind of revenge for setting me up. And it was fun. We actually had a match. It was an evening gown match. It's my only match. I am 1-0. I'm undefeated. Woohoo! And Trish helped me, and so did Stacy Keibler. So it was a lot of fun. And Howard just had the best as far as somebody that could actually make fun of himself and just a great attitude about it, and got stripped down to his red underwear. I'll never forget that. But Howard, what a great guy. So that was that. All right. So Tales of Hope Pod. Tales of Hope Pod. That sounds like a podcast. Maybe it is. What advice would you be able to give? There we go. What advice would you be able to give a podcast as it enters the second half of its first year in terms of growth, advertising, etc.? All right. So there's a lot of podcasts that are actually, more and more and more coming out every day, which means there's more noise out there, which means it's harder and harder to get attention from people. And I think for me, what's helped, I don't necessarily like to look at numbers. I don't like to look at downloads. I don't like to worry about all that stuff. My main focus is to try to get the best show out there, the best guest out there. I always tell my guest, look, this is a show where we're trying to help people. So, be as open as you are comfortable with, and just know there's no judgment here whatsoever, and just sharing a story. And that's what they've done. So I just, I think be authentic and don't worry so much about numbers, because even if you're affecting 5 people, that's powerful too. Even when you're affecting one person, for one person to say, you've changed my life, or I was contemplating suicide and listening to your podcast helped me, that is so powerful. So just remember that, just authentic, pouring of what you put out there, good content, and just don't try to do something cheap in order to get numbers. I think that's my main purpose. And hey, writing things like this, you just got your podcast some attention. Tales of Hope Podcast. I kind of like that name, Tales of Hope. So good luck to you. All right, Julian Bell, 33. If WWE would not have called you in 1999, what backup plan would you have had? Well, I actually wasn't looking to be in this, because I was actually working really hard to be a full-time singer. That was always my goal. And it's crazy how when I accepted this job, I was a little bit concerned. I'm like, wow, is this deviating right from my goal? Because that's sometimes you got to really wonder, and you got to be very careful of what you choose in your life. If you got a goal, does this align with the goal? So I was a little bit like, is this really going to align with singing? But guys, when I got it, I remember them telling me, because I always say, God, if it's meant to be, make it obvious. If it's not meant to be, make it obvious. Because I really was conflicted. Do I take this? Do I not take this if they offer it? And when they called to offer it, they said, look, we'd like to try you out for 2 to 3 months and you could quit at any time. Well, that to me was obvious. So I show up at Iowa State University. It was the very, very, very first show that I did in 1999, August 23rd. It was a day after SummerSlam. And I remember getting the tour, and all of a sudden I went, I have no idea how this is all going to work with my singing, but I have a good feeling about it. And lo and behold, if I didn't get to sing in the show, right? With all the national anthems that I did, all the different countries that I would go to. When I went to Scotland, I would sing their national anthem, or Australia, I'd sing one of the Que Viva España when I went to Spain, just different songs from around the world, wherever we went, and incorporated. And I got to sing, like I said, not only the national anthem, but like America the Beautiful or God Bless America or something like that. And then I got to do a whole Spanish album because that was Vince McMahon who actually sponsored that and was really excited about me doing the Spanish album. And I got to perform it live on Monday Night Raw, Quiero Vivir. It's still available if you guys want to download it. And so it was just so incredible that the fact that I wanted to be a singer, and then this came, and I went ahead and took the chance and the opportunity, and how I was able to incorporate both my love of, I really fell in love with ring announcing completely. Like that, it felt a lot like hosting, which I had done, and it was just so much fun to really like rev up the match and introduce the superstars to the ring and just make it bigger than life, because they are bigger than life. So it's wild how both things worked. All right, thank you for your question. Tasha Gregory, being a fan from London, England, I wondered how working in the American shows compared to the UK shows. And do you envision any UK dates for us to hear you sing and meet and greets? Man, I really want to get to the UK. I actually am talking to somebody now about trying to do a signing out there. And yeah, why not even sing the national anthem? I remember actually I got to do that a few years ago when WWE brought me back. When all the attacks happened in Manchester, they asked me to go down there with NXT and have it where I open up with God Save the Queen, which was a huge honor for me. And it was kind of like the way that WWE showed the UK that we care after the attacks. And it was neat too, because I got to that's when I met Aleister Black. That's when I hung out again with Drew McIntyre. That's where I met Ember Moon. That's where I met a lot, like Peyton Royce and Billy Kay. I hadn't met them yet because they were on the NXT program. And so by me going there, it was really cool to actually get to do that and be in the UK. But I am trying to get my way back. I love the energy of England. I don't know whether it's, I love our fans here in the US are awesome. But I think because we're here in the US so much that when you're in something so much, you kind of take things for granted a little bit. So when the WWE would go to Japan or go to England and do the show there, all of a sudden it's like, oh, we only get to see you twice a year or once a year. So it's so exciting to be here. So the crowd was just so loud. I loved it. Loved it, loved it, loved it. The passion, you could just see it. So thank you so much, England. You're awesome. Okay. Let's take a couple more, and then I'm going to actually break down last year's show. So what is your favorite thing to do? Oh, this is from Avis Mazzaros. That's what it looks like. What's your favorite thing to do when you're not working? Well, I work a lot. I really do, because I'm working on so many different things, whether it's Chasing Glory, I've got new music that I'm working on. Guys, I'm writing again. I'm so excited. I'm completely determined to get new music out in 2019. The last few years have been very testing for me, especially without music, because I miss it. It is who I am. And so I'm determined. Wow. And I'm about to put this out there. I'm going to let you guys know what one of my goals is so that you can actually hold me accountable. Now, when I say that I want to write this amount of songs, it doesn't mean that I'm going to release this amount of songs. A lot of times how records are done is that you write, like you write a lot. And then from there, you choose your top 6 or your top 8 or your top 10 or your top 12. And then you put them out, whether it's an EP that you want to put out. An EP just means it's 6 or 8 songs. And then if it's a full album, it's 10 or more songs. So, but sometimes you write a lot of songs in order to then wean it down, right? So I put it in my goal that this year I'm going to write 18 songs. 18 songs. Okay, that's more than one song a month. And I know I can do it. I'm very excited. I already actually wrote one. I finished it on New Year's Day. That was on my goal. I said, that's it. By the end of New Year's Day, I'm finishing this song. Very excited about it. So I will be going in the recording studio eventually to record all this. And I'm working on my second song right now. So here it is, just a week into the new year. I'm working on my second song. So I feel good that I'm on par to have 18 songs this year as far as written. And I will be honest with you. Again, all 18 are not going to be released, but I will be honest with you as to how how I'm doing. So I want you guys to definitely set goals like that. Like something that scares you. 18 songs scare me. Why? Because I wrote one last year. One. That's it. And I look at that and I go, man, that's crazy. For me, being so passionate about singing, why did I only write one song? And that was blockage, my mindset, all of that. So I've been really working hard on all to conquer and to get through that. So 18 songs, people, 18 songs. Woo-hoo. All right, one more question. Let's see. I'm looking through this right now to see who we're going to pick here. We're going to pick Malky.mk5. What has been one of the most amazing things that has happened to you in your career? Wow, I'm lucky enough. It's pretty incredible when you can hear that question. And I didn't actually see these questions beforehand. So it's not like I'm all rehearsed about it. But I've been grateful and, fortunate enough to have various moments. I mean, from singing to the soldiers in Afghanistan and Iraq when we went over there, to actually performing, being the first actually, to perform after 9/11 and what happened there. Like I was the first to perform the national anthem at a public forum because everybody else canceled. That moment became bigger than me. That was the nation and the world that really was crying and needed that. So I think that's a powerful moment right there, that I could use my voice for healing. That's what Chasing Glory feels like for me too. The fact that you guys let me know how it affects you, it goes, wow, okay, this show, I'm using my voice to heal. And that I think is, I know for me how special that is. And that's why I want that for all of you. Use your voice, use your talents, use whatever you can for the world to heal, to help in some way, whether it's even giving some encouraging words to a friend. That's my 2 cents. So thank you guys for your questions. If I didn't get around to them, don't worry. I will continue to answer questions in every show at the very beginning. Obviously, I'm not going to take this many questions because this show's more about you. But in the future, we are going to have guests. So I'll take like 2 or 3 and I'll read you some of your reviews. So keep those reviews coming. But from last year, 2018, from my guests, and you heard the best of show, and like we took 2 or 3 minutes from each episode, almost each episode, and really highlighted like some of the things that were in the lessons that came out of that. Well, we started with Stephanie McMahon. I love Stephanie. God, I mean, this is someone that she didn't even have to do the show. It was so great. She's so busy. And I love how she supported me and how she supported the show by coming on. So Stephanie, thank you. I love how honest she was. So for me, she really taught perspective. And perspective is an important thing. And the reason that I bring it up is because, I had asked her, people think that you've had it easy. You've had it easy because you are Vince's daughter, because you're a McMahon. And I love how she started laughing. She's like, yeah, that is the perception, right? But it's actually harder. She said, yes, I've gotten a lot of things because I am a McMahon and it opened a lot of doors, but because of Vince and how much he expects, someone to be at their top game, he actually said, and I expect you to be even more, to his kids. So that made it even harder for them, but that's who they are, as far as that's why they're so good. So I loved what Stephanie shared with that and the stories that she shared and how her and Shane actually had to go out in the ring and do something again that they had done. And Vince didn't like it, so he sent them back out to do it. So I encourage you to go back and listen to the episode. It's really great and really talks about perspective, perception, all of that, which is awesome. Stone Cold Steve Austin talks about overcoming shyness. Yeah, can you believe Stone Cold was shy? Like when I hear him and I hear Seth Rollins talk about it, and I heard Batista when he talked about it and back as my guest in 2017 when I started Chasing Glory, it's wild when you hear the story of someone that's so shy and then can be so bigger than life in the ring. But I think it gives a lot of hope to kids out there that feel like, wow, because I'm so shy, that means I can't become something. Yes, you can. Yes, you can. So thank you guys for sharing that. And like I said, with Seth Rollins and also Sting, they're talking about everything they gave up. They gave up for their dreams to do this and how they almost gave up. And then they said, no, we're going to keep going. And luckily, they made it. So they show that the struggle is real, but you just got to keep at it. And keep at it and keep at it. Perseverance. I think that's the biggest thing. R-Truth, very open about the fact that he was selling drugs to make ends meet and help his music. And he ended up being in jail multiple times. How he finally learned from that, how he finally turned his life around, how he is an advocate to not go down that road, but also the lessons that he learned from being in there and making the choices that he made and kind of just now speaking to the youth. So I loved R-Truth's episode about that. And then I was telling you, Paige, Paige overcoming the fact that she can no longer wrestle, but it was a great lesson in, okay, that doesn't mean it's the end of me. What more can I do? What more is there out there? And she has proven she was a great GM. She actually has now her clothing line, her makeup line. She continues to inspire people. So, and she's done a complete turnaround too in her life. And I just love Paige. Then I actually interviewed her mom. What a story. Her mom, she was molested. She was gang raped. She was, this is all before the age of 18. And she was raped 2 more times before 18. And how she's able to talk about it now, how she got through it. And one of the biggest things that was so powerful to me was hearing her say, I'm not going to pay for someone else's sins. That is such a strong statement. And I loved hearing that because it is true. Why should she pay for someone else's sins? Which is exactly when Mickie James also talked on the episode how she was molested and then she was hiding it for years. And then now she's like, I'm tired of hiding. Like I did something wrong. She didn't do anything wrong. Right? And by her opening up, now she's helping so many people. When her episode came out, people were writing in, going, oh my gosh, this has happened to me. And now you've given me the opportunity to let this go and not be hiding like this bad secret. And they said, you've set me free, Mickie. So again, share your stories. Share your stories. The phenomenal AJ Styles and Renee Young, they both talked about the fact this clear vision that they had. So AJ spoke about the fact that he would love to be on the cover of the 2K games, video games. And lo and behold, if he did not become the cover guy, it's amazing, right? So he had a clear vision and it happened. And then Renee Young talked about how she was really feeling like she wanted to be the first ever woman's commentator, like full-time commentator on either Raw or SmackDown. And sure enough, like that very next week, they chose her to be the commentator, the first female on Monday Night Raw. And she's been killing it since. So it's having these clear visions. It's really teaching us, know where you're going, know where it is that you want to go so that the universe or God or whatever it is that you believe in can actually grant it to you. And I always say this, Remember, if it's meant to be, make it obvious or make it happen. If it's not meant to be and it's going to be worse for me, please don't make it happen. So sometimes if you don't get what you want, don't be so upset about it, because it could be that you're being protected, very, very much protected from it not going and being a good thing for you. So Bobby Lashley, man, overcoming nerves before his matches, the anticipation of performing and going out there, and how to actually turn it into, instead of having like just these nerves that actually hold you back, how to be so excited. I actually get very excited before I perform. You'll see me. It's like a different type of nerves. It's an excited nerves. There was only one time that I actually didn't have those nerves. I think I shared this with you guys before, and I messed up so bad. And then I realized I was just too relaxed. I was too relaxed. I was taking it for granted. And sure enough, I changed everything around. And now I get I've got those excited nerves like, let me out there. Let me out there. Let me do my thing. So Bobby actually shared about that. Mojo Rawley. Oh, wow. Okay, here's the guy. I didn't know that much about Mojo. But after I listened to the episode, and so many of you shared this with me, you actually like Mojo way better. And I agree. He got to really show his personality and who he is, and talk about somebody that you actually want to pull for now. And I told Mojo, I was like, man, this is your year. This is your year. I feel it. Got to get something going for Mojo. He's really a light. And so we talked about the fact, though, he had this scholarship coming to him and how it was going to be wrongly taken from him from the college that he was at. And he had to stand up for himself. And he threatened them, and he said, no way are you taking the scholarship from me, or this is what I'm going to do. And you know what? That is somebody that had to defend something that was right. So I don't feel like there's anything wrong in that. When something is you've earned it, and then someone's just going to strip it away. No. You got to fight for it. You got to be like, no way are you stripping this away from me, because I earned this. And that's exactly what he did. Incredible story. Rey Mysterio speaks about size and how it affected him, and how not really even affected him, because he just kept at it. But he was just so torn as to, why does everybody keep focusing on the fact that I'm small? Who cares, right? Think about it. How exciting is it about his size now? All the things that he can do because of his size. It's part of the story, and it's so different, and it's awesome. So use your assets. That to me is an asset, because it's different. Use that for your advantage. Don't let anyone tell you you can't be something because of a way that you are. No, use it for you. Instead of against you, use it for you. So, Ray, thank you for sharing with that. The Hardy Boys talked about their story, their struggles. We talked about how real 24, their story on 24 and WWE Network was. And I loved really how open they were about everything that they've gone through, because I know that there's people out there that battle addiction, whether it's alcohol or whether it's pills, whether it's drugs, all of that. And they were very open as to how black and dark the times were, and then how they actually got out of it, and how they endured losing their mom at such a young age as well. And speaking of losing a parent, Zelina Vega, when she spoke about losing her dad, because he was in the Twin Towers. He was in one of the Twin Towers at 9/11. Oh, it's so sad. But she speaks about that, and then how she's able to turn that around now and be in something that her and her dad used to watch wrestling. They used to have that tie, and now she is a wrestler. It's incredible, and she's doing amazing. So, a very, very powerful episode. And that brings me also to Mustafa Ali. Mustafa spoke about why he became a cop, what he saw after 9/11, all these incredible stories that he shared. So that's just a little snippet of the lessons that were from last year. I mean, I could go on. Alexa Bliss talking about eating disorders. Jay Shetty, that's a wellness expert right there, talking about being judged and worry about judgment. So again, There's something different in each episode that you can learn from, and that's what's going to happen moving forward. So thank you so much, guys. We have a huge year ahead of us, and I'm just thrilled. I'm just so thrilled at the start of this and what's to come. And I'll be making more and more announcements as to how Chasing Glory is growing. And I want to thank all the people that have recently been on their podcasts as well, just trying to get the word out more and more about Chasing Glory, and then sharing my own personal story. And I have a few other announcements to make besides even just music. But all of that will be coming up. Just keep following the show, keep spreading the word, subscribing, and above all, just live with much peace, love, and passion. And remember to always be yourself and trust that it's enough. Happy New Year. I love you.
Thanks for joining us here on Chasing Glory from executive producer Lilian Garcia. Don't forget to share this episode with your friends and be sure to subscribe at Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your favorite shows.